Hello everyone, my name is Charinel Peña and today I'm going to be talking about an character. His name is John Stuart Mill. Here we have the outline that we're going to follow in this exposition that is his early life, his important work, and his input. So let's start saying that John Stuart Mill was an English philosopher, economist, and exponent of utilitarianism. And he was a prominent as a publicist in the Reforming age of the 19th century and remains of lasting interest as a logician and an ethical theorist. So what we can say about this character about John Stuart Mill is that he was a logician. He used a lot of logic, and that was part most of the things he studied in his work. He will have his early life. John Stuart Mill was born at 13 Rodney Street in Pentonville, Midlands. He was the eldest son of Harriet Barrett and the Scottish philosopher, historian, and economist James Mill. In his early life, his father made him read a lot. He also um, he was very strict about knowledge, and he was with John Stuart Mill. His father was a follower of Bethan and adherent of associationism. He had his explicit aim to create a genius intellect that will carry on the cause of utilitarianism and its implementation after he and Betha had died. So here we have some of the steps that Mill had during his childhood. And we start that he was a precocious child, described his education in his autobiography. And at the age of 3, he was taught Greek. At the age of 8, Mill began studying Latin, the works of Euclid and algebra, and was appointed schoolmaster to the younger children of the family. At the age of 14, Mill stayed a year in France with the family of Sir Samuel Betham, a brother of Jeremy Betham. The mountain scenery he saw led to a lifelong taste for mountain landscape. He had a very uh, sensible part of his life. He went through months of sadness and contemplated suicide at 20 years of age. Um, he asked himself whether the creation of a just society, what was the objective of his life, and if that objective will make him happy. His hard answer were no, and unsurprisingly, he lost the happiness of striving towards this objective. Here we have an important part of his life. That was when he married uh, a Harry Taylor. Let's make look at here. Okay, married Taylor, and they had a very intimate friendship. They got married 2 years after Harriet lost um, her husband in death because of death. And I really like the way that he described his wife. We could see because of the way he did that he was really in love with her. Um, eh, Taylor was a significant influence on Mill's work and ideas during both friendship and marriage. His relationship with Taylor reinforced Mill's advocacy of women's rights. He said that in his stand against domestic violence and for women's rights, he was chiefly an amusement to my wife. So, because of his wife, he started looking and noticing the domestic violence, and he was fighting against that. I was looking at her work, and her work was also about uh, violence, a principle, women's violence. And about his death, Mill died in 1873, 13 years before his 67th birthday of Isabel in Avignon, France, where his body was put alongside his wife. Here we have his important work. We start with the system of logic. Like I was saying before, he used a lot of logic in his work. It was written in 1843 on liberty. That was written in the 1859 utilitarianism. That he was talking about that in 1861, and finally an examination of Sir William Hamilton's philosophy in 1865. So his prevalence during his time is that he was the most famous and influential British philosopher of the 19th century. He was one of the last systematic philosophers making significant contributions in logic, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, political philosophy, and social theory. He was also an important public figure articulating the liberal platform, pressing for various liberal reforms, and serving in parliament. During Mill's lifetime, he was most widely admired for his work in theoretical philosophy and political economy. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope that you can understand about this important character. Thank you.